There is a version of your life where money is never the reason you can't do something. Where you don't check your account before agreeing to plans. Where you don't lie awake running numbers in your head at 2 a.m. Where the job is optional, the vacation happens, and the people you love are taken care of. That version of your life is not reserved for people who were born into the right family, stumbled into the right opportunity, or got lucky at the right time. It is built deliberately by ordinary people who learned an extraordinary set of decisions and made them in the right order. This video is the map. From less than zero, to financial freedom. Not a motivational speech. Not a rags to riches highlight reel. The actual path. The decisions, the sequence, the mindset shifts, and the specific moves that transform financial struggle into lasting wealth. And it starts in a place most people refuse to look directly at. If the problem is income, no amount of budgeting will fully solve it. You can cut expenses to the bone and still not generate enough margin to change your trajectory. This is the hard truth that frugality culture avoids. Cutting your daily coffee saves $150 a month. Increasing your income by 20% changes the entire equation. Skills, education, certifications, side income, entrepreneurship. The path out of poverty is rarely a spending problem alone. It is almost always paired with an income problem that has to be attacked directly. But here's where it gets counterintuitive. Most people who escape genuine financial hardship don't do it by finding one massive opportunity. They do it by stacking small income increases over time while simultaneously building the habits that prevent that new income from being consumed by new expenses. This is called lifestyle creep, and it is the silent killer of financial progress. Every time income goes up and spending rises to match it, the person is running faster on the same treadmill. The goal is to increase income and hold spending flat, or as close to flat as possible, for as long as it takes to build real financial momentum. That momentum starts with one thing before anything else: an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses, sitting in a liquid savings account, untouched. This is not exciting. It is not sexy. But it is the single most transformative financial step a person in poverty or near poverty can take, because without it, every financial setback is a catastrophe. A car repair, a medical bill, a job loss, without a buffer, these events send people back to square one. With a buffer, they are inconveniences. The emergency fund is what allows every other financial goal to survive contact with real life. Once the destructive debt is gone and the emergency fund is built, the trajectory changes completely. Now you have something most people in financial struggle have never had: margin. Monthly income that isn't already spoken for. This is the turning point. And what you do with that margin in the first few years after reaching it determines whether you build lasting wealth or simply return to the cycle of spending it as fast as it arrives. The answer is to invest it. Early, consistently, and inside tax-advantaged accounts wherever possible. A workplace retirement account, particularly one with an employer match, is the first destination for investment dollars. An employer match is a 50 to 100% immediate return on your contribution. There is no investment on earth that competes with that. Contribute at minimum enough to capture the full match. Then build from there: a Roth IRA for tax-free growth, a brokerage account for flexibility, low-cost index funds for broad market exposure with minimal fees eating into your returns. The vehicle matters far less than the habit. An average investor who contributes consistently for 30 years will almost always outperform a sophisticated investor who contributes sporadically. Time and consistency are the actual engines. The strategy just needs to be sound enough not to get in the way. Now here's the shift that separates people who become comfortable from people who become genuinely wealthy. At some point, earned income, the money you trade time for, has to be supplemented by asset income, money that flows from things you own. This is the transition from working for money to having money work for you, and it doesn't happen by accident. It requires deliberately acquiring income-producing assets, rental properties, dividend-paying investments, business ownership, index fund portfolios large enough to generate meaningful returns. The exact vehicle is less important than the principle. You need assets that generate income independent of your time. This sequence is not fast. The people who try to shortcut it, who jump to cryptocurrency speculation or high-risk ventures before the foundation is solid, almost always end up back at the beginning, often worse off than before. The sequence exists for a reason. Each step creates the stability that makes the next step possible. There is also a psychological dimension to this journey that most financial content ignores, and it may be the most important part of all. Growing up in poverty or financial scarcity doesn't just affect your bank account. It affects how you think about money. It creates beliefs, often unconscious, that money is scarce, that wealth is for other people, that something will always go wrong, that spending now is safer than saving for a future that might not arrive. These beliefs are not character flaws. They are rational adaptations to difficult circumstances. But they will sabotage every financial strategy you try to implement if you don't recognize them and actively work against them. The wealthiest people who came from nothing share one characteristic more consistently than any specific strategy or opportunity. They changed their relationship with money before they changed their bank balance. They started treating financial decisions as long-term architecture rather than short-term relief. They stopped making financial choices based on how they felt in the moment and started making them based on where they wanted to be in 10 years. That shift, from reactive to intentional, is not a small thing. It is the entire thing. The path from poverty to financial freedom is long. It requires patience in a world optimized for impatience. It requires consistency in circumstances that constantly test it. But it is a path. It has been walked by people with less than you, starting later than you, facing more than you. The rules of money do not change based on where you started. Compound growth works the same for everyone. Debt destroys everyone equally. Assets generate income regardless of who owns them. The question has never been whether this is possible. The question is whether you're willing to move through the early steps, the unsexy, unglamorous, often frustrating early steps, long enough to reach the point where the math starts doing the work for you. Because once it does, the trajectory changes in ways that are almost impossible to fully appreciate until you're living it. If this video gave you something concrete, a shift in perspective, a step to take, a decision to revisit, share it with someone who needs it. The information that changes financial trajectories doesn't always find the people who need it most. You can fix that. And if you're not subscribed yet, this is exactly the right time. Every week, this channel breaks down the real mechanics of building wealth, from the first emergency fund to the first rental property to the portfolio that replaces your income entirely. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay on the path. The next video picks up exactly where this one left off, and the step we cover next is the one most people skip, which is precisely why most people never make it as far as they should.